Alright guys, we're back for another Dokkan battle video. So, I wanted to do a video talking about the possibility of PvP in Dokkan, and I guess we sort of have had some signs that this could actually be happening. So basically, if you guys are not aware, Dokkan basically implemented new like anti-cheat and stuff like that. So a lot of different like mods and stuff like that that a lot of people were using and stuff just is not going to work anymore. After the most recent update on Dokkan, right? And I don't know, it seems fairly aggressive, and it's interesting because Dokkan for almost 6 years now hasn't really cared if people mod, do all kinds of craziness. Dokkan never really cared outside of when people were able to do stone duping in the gift box many years ago. Like, outside of that, Dokkan has never really gone too crazy. I mean, obviously, if you try and mod and, like, world tournament stuff like that, Dokkan will clap your ass. But, like, that's pretty much it, right? Even when they introduced, like, the times, like, oh, you know, you could see how fast people were doing events and stuff like that. Like, even people who beat events like Super Battle Road in, like, 5 seconds, you know, Dokkan just didn't really care. But now, all of a sudden, they do care. And what's interesting is Dokkan themselves has just sort of tossed out the possibility to us of introducing PvP in the game, because we've seen in surveys recently where Dokkan has floated out the idea of PvP. We've seen this in multiple surveys in this year, 2020, right? I was just in a call with Goresh the other night while he was translating the JP survey to see if there was any major differences from the global one. And, you know, in it, he's mentioning that, yeah, they're mentioning PvP, like, clearly, like, player versus player right here. So, you know, I really wonder if that's why they decide to do this now. Like, it's like, okay, maybe for, like, the 6-year anniversary, they'll have some sort of, like, new mode that's PvP or something like that. Because, you know, many gacha games have that. But I just, personally, I don't know, because I feel like Dokkan is in a fine spot. Like, you know, everyone complains a lot about a lot of stuff that happens in Dokkan. I mean, I would say that the criticisms about the lack of content in the worldwide download celebration are absolutely fair. Because, you know, it just, that's supposed to be like a super major thing, and it just felt like they didn't really have enough going on for it. Like, it felt like they cared too much about, like, you know, changing the UI for, like, the missions, like the global versus JP missions and stuff like that. Like, they cared too much about that, and it's like, who cares about that? It's not a big deal, right? Like, actual content would have been better. I do understand why people on Global are upset that Global has not gotten an EZA as well. I think that's, you know, completely in bounds. I feel like Dokkan is doing fine, though. I mean, it, like, because that's literally, it's just release the EZAs on Global, and then just, you know, a big celebration, actually have more content. Like, it's very easy, like, very easy things for them to do, right? They introduced the link level update, which no one was asking for, and honestly, I think is a great thing. A lot of people have grown frustrated with it because of how difficult it is to grind up links, but this is something that's there forever. Like, they didn't introduce it intending people to grind out all of their best characters to link level 10 right away. Like, that's not the point, right? Like, you know, you put time into it here and there, but it's not really that big of a deal. That's why the link levels they're very consistent how they level up, right? There's only a few links that you really want to get to level 10. Things like Saiyan Lineage, Royal Lineage, Big Bad Bosses, Majin, you know, basically links that get you an extra key at level 10, or something like Big Bad Bosses, which makes Big Bad Bosses then unconditional, not having an HP restriction at all. Those are really, like, the only sorts of links you have to get to 10. The rest, it's like, it's just very minor upgrades, like, pretty balanced all the way from 1 to 10, right? So, like, that, the link level update system is fine. The other thing I'm curious too, right? I mean, we're gonna find out more if PvP really is on the horizon. Because they also asked about Dragon Ball Heroes cards, right? Like, you know, would we like Dragon Ball Heroes Dokkan Fest? Would we like Dragon Ball Heroes LRs? Now, if they do, you know, that was mentioned in a previous survey. If we do get, like, a Dragon Ball Heroes Dokkan Fest in November, which I think is possible, then that really could mean, like, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire with this PvP stuff. Again, I do sort of think PvP is a bad idea. After 6 years where they create wildly unbalanced units like Tech Ultimate Gohan and, like, STR, LR, UI Goku, like just like ridiculously like just unbalanced OP units. Like, how is that going to work in like a PvP setting? Like, if they would have to do some sort of like new mode or some sort of different gameplay, but then how does that affect all of these units, right? Like, it just seems like it's a lot to introduce now. And like, you know, again, like 6 years of this, if you're just Joe Schmo free-to-play player, yay, PvP is here, let me hop into PvP, and then you run up against me day one. Like, it's not going to be fun, right? Like, at least with Legends has been PvP since day one, right? So, like, Legends, they do a pretty poor job of balancing PvP and Legends, but that's, personally, I feel the major problem Legends has is it's always like, all right, so we're going to release 60 consecutive, you know, regen meta banners, or all right, time for the 7 consecutive top tier fusion units to come out one after another. Like, they don't really balance things. It's just like, all right, we're just going to push this team undisputed to king, and then, all right, now we'll just take this other team and make them king, right? Like, they sort of like bounce back and forth like that. But Legends too, again, was created with PvP in mind. Like, the whole intention, the whole design of the game was PvP, because Legends was feedback taken from Dokkan, right? That's something that's very important. That's why I never thought Dokkan doesn't need PvP, because they literally took the feedback of PvP and they said, well, rather than do a Dokkan, we're just gonna make a whole new fucking game, right? That's what they did. And that's why people who also go, oh, here we go comparing Legends and Dokkan again. You have to. It's Legends was literally made from feedback to Dokkan. Like, they're both Dragon Ball gacha games as well. Like, it's just, it's not realistic to separate them, I don't think. It's just not. Like, Dokkan and Legends are always going to be compared. It's just the way it is. I mean, they were very vocal. The producers of Legends were very vocal that the game was made from feedback from Dokkan. So that forever ties the two games together. It's just the way it is, right? So, I don't want PvP, because I'm scared that it could really, that's something that could push people away. Like, you know, because when you introduce PvP to the game, naturally it's going to be what people care about the most, right? Like, you know, all the like, you know, just monotonous grinding and stuff like that, people aren't going to give a shit about that anymore. They're going to care about the PvP aspect. And then, you know, once you can't win in PvP, once they drop, you know, LR Evolution Blue Vegeta, who becomes the king of PvP, and you just cannot beat him, and then, you know, me and Nolar and Gresh have them rainbow day one, and we're just tearing everyone's ass up, people aren't gonna have fun. People will stop playing. I think PvP is how Dokkan could really shoot itself in the foot if they're not careful. So I would prefer they not do it, but man, does it seem like it's possible. So let's see what some people have to say here. Yeah. Yeah. I love my man's name right here. Masks are not oppression. Literally the first comment. The game will collapse so quickly. I mean, I'm inclined to agree. You know, we would see what happened. Yeah, see, look at this. yeah, the whales. Because again, the game, everything that's happened in this 6 years has had no thought about a possible PvP. So now if they just do PvP, it's like, oh boy. And it's like, okay, so sure, maybe if they release PvP for the 6-year anniversary, that means they had to have known they were going to do it at least like a year in advance or something like that. But I mean, that would be wild, because a lot of the units they've released in the last year, I would say, are like even way more wildly unbalanced than the units we've had from previous years, right? Like, I don't know, Super Saiyan 3 Broly has a balanced EZA or something like that. Like, he's a balanced card, right? He hits ridiculously hard, but then he also has his defensive drawback. But like, all Super 17, what drawback does Super 17 have? I guess that he has to get hit a couple of times. What drawback does LRUI Goku have? I mean, his defense is ridiculous immediately, and then he starts dodging, and then he's untouchable, and then he's doing 5, 6, 7 million attack stats. Like, these units aren't exactly balanced for that sort of system. So, you know, it could be very, very bad. Yeah, exactly. Boom. It's just, Dokkan has not, I don't know. Like, it's almost like, again, I don't think they could do a PvP like with the way the game is now, right? Like just the system. It's not like like Naruto Blazing, right? Like when they first created Naruto Blazing, there wasn't PvP in it, but like the way that system worked, it was very easy just to sort of like do, like it was already like turn-based. I mean, Dokkan, you know, is sort of turn-based as well, so I guess it could work, but like I almost feel like the Naruto Blazing system is a little bit better suited. And looking at Naruto Blazing and its basic death, I mean, I've heard that they're just releasing old events, not even updating shit, not releasing new cards, new animations, nothing like that. The problem with Blazing was that they created PvP and they rewarded, it was like super old units. Like, if you had them maxed out and stuff like that, they were really good for PvP. It was like a very good rewarding system for players who have, you know, have like Haku, one of the earliest units in the game, who was very good. But then Blazing nerfed a lot of those old, like, shitty, like, units that sucked for actual, like, you know, the PvE content, right? You know, they were pretty decent for PvP at the time, but they were old, so they sucked ass for PvE. Blazing then nerfed those units, and then they started Blazing Bash, which was like the PvP, basically like centric units, and it just was like a chain reaction that like killed everyone's enjoyment in the game. So it's like, is Dokkan then going to do the same thing, where it's like, okay, so we're going to drop this, so what, we're going to drop the Dokkan Bash banner, which is, you know, this cell who is designed specifically around PvP, and like if you pull that cell, unless someone else has another Dokkan Bash unit, basically, they don't have a chance against you. Like, I would fear that Dokkan would repeat the same mistakes that Blazing did. Like, it seems like it's just very obvious. Like, that's the type of mistakes that, like, a game like this would make, right? Yeah, we know who's going to win in PvP. Okay, but, I mean, that's... if you're playing a gacha game with PvP, guess who's going to do the best? People who spend money. I mean, that's... You have done... Like... Guess what? Whales and Legends, it's like, yeah, you know, skill usually does sort of outweigh, like, whaling and, like, something like Legends. But, you know, if I rock up, you know, pull up my 14-star Vegito Blue, you know, you could be a way better player than me, but you're going to have to outplay me for a very long time, as my Vegito Blue takes no damage and then one-shots your entire team, right? So, I mean, yeah, whales are always going to win. I mean, that's not PvP in any game, right? Way to balance it while also getting minor incentives to people that have them rainbowed. Well, it's not... See, here's the thing. Emphasis on minor. Yeah, it's not... Nah, dog. It's not... There's definitely not going to be minor incentives. It's going to be big, right? Because, again, like, you know, you get these whales, like me. It's like, I look at, like, okay, I just spent 10,000 stones to rainbow the LR Super Saiyan 2 Angel Vegeta. It's actually 9,950, but I'm going to say 10,000, all right? Relax. I just spent 10,000 stones on that Vegeta. Do I want to hear that he gets 2 extra points in damage over the free-to-play player who got 1 copy of him with a single 5 stones? Like, you know, at that point, am I entitled to be upset about that at that point? Like, it's like, you know, 10,000 stones, like, that's a lot of real-world money, man. You know, that 10k stones ain't cheap. So, like, that's the thing. Like, it's not going to be a minor incentive to people that have them rainbowed. That's another reason why PvP, man, is tricky. I don't know. Okay, so this guy's talking about Dokkan Battlefield 1.0, which is sort of like a tower defense thing. Personally, I loved that so much. People whined and complained about it, because, I mean, people complain about everything. But it's like, that was Dokkan really trying something drastically different. All they had to do, I think, was just, like, sort of adjust the speed and adjust the amount of characters that were on screen in that. And that really would have been fun and could have worked. But rather than that, they just decided they were going to kill it forever, which, you know, is really a shame, because, you know, I thought... I actually never got a chance to play that myself, and I thought that was very good. One of these days, I want to do a video on it. Maybe I'll ask, like, Nano or something like that if I could just take his gameplay from it and just kind of, like, do a video talking about that mode. Because, like, Dokkan Battlefield, the original one, like... Man, do I wish they would bring that back and we could, you know, try that out again. Like, that would be awesome. Yeah, more people think that Dokkan would be killed. Battle of the Whales, but again, that's every PvP gacha game. Whaling will be rewarded. That's how else is it supposed to be? Like, it's just whales will get rewarded, right? You spend money, you're keeping the game alive. You have the better units, you have the more maxed out units. Like, yeah, your whales are at an advantage. Yeah, people are like, nah. Perhaps they're planning to release more events related with other players like World Tournament and Chain Battle. Perhaps. Like some sort of co-op mode. Because again, they did sort of ask several questions, pertaining to sort of like different like ways to play with players. But again, Garesh, was doing the translation while I was in call, and he say to like it, they're saying directly player versus player right here. So it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Are there any other signs it might look like they want to introduce PvP or just a cleanup? I mean, well, that the surveys as well. But again, why do they care now about killing all the mods and stuff like that? Like it makes me think something is coming, right? Like not. I don't necessarily mean like a ban wave or something like that, because I feel like it seems like Dokkan, their strategy is rather than like outright ban people, they just block the thing from being done, which is good, right? Because like, I don't want to see half of the community get banned because y'all, I don't know, modded Super Battle Road when it first came out to get stones to summon for like Int UI Goku or whoever was out at the time, right? Like it's like, yeah, you shouldn't have modded, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't think a ban wave is coming, but I am nervous that PvP is coming. I'll just say that. Yeah, how would PvP even work? I mean, it would definitely be some sort of turn-based thing, like, because when you have, like, one of these fights like, against, like, a Dokkan boss or something like that, right, like, you kind of almost have, like, a turn-based system built in, right, where the boss attacks, then your character is attacking, then the boss, or, like a Final Fantasy X, like, battle system or something like that, right? So it would be interesting, but, I feel like there'd be a lot of RNG. I don't know. I just don't want to see it happen, man. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about PvP and Dokkan. Again, I feel like there's a good chance it's going to happen because they've mentioned it a bit too many times now. And then again, cleaning up all the mods and all this shit, like there would have to be some reason, right? Because it seems like Dokkan now is more aggressive about cleaning up Dokkan than even like Legends is about cleaning up Legends. Like Legends doesn't have as advanced shit as Dokkan does now. Like that's odd because Legends is the PvP centric game and Dokkan is not. So it's very interesting, right? That's again what sort of makes me really think PvP might be on the way. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Again, I am on the record. I would rather not have PvP come into the game because I think it could be very devastating. Like, if it's done wrong, it could kill the game. I mean, I would argue PvP is what led to Naruto Blazing's downfall. There's other reasons too, but that was a big thing. Blazing Bash hurt that game bad, and like a Dokkan Bash would hurt Dokkan bad. So let me know what you guys think.